Because we are true fighters.
Yeah, two fighters.
True fighters.
True, yeah, of course. No, not YouTuber fighters.
Huh?
Not YouTuber fighters. Yeah, of course.
They need to talk and talk shit about the fight because they want to sell something. The people know we are great fighters. They want to put great fighters. Yeah. We don't need to talk
I am sure in the end, in the mid of September, we will have one of the greatest fights ever happen in boxing. And I am sure.
Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford is shaping up to be one of the biggest boxing matches in history, with both fighters reigning as champions and celebrated as legends by their fans. Recently, Crawford released new training footage where he appears sharp, fast, and focused. His movements are smooth, his punches crisp, and his footwork precise. Fans are buzzing with excitement, believing he's in peak form for what may be the biggest fight of his career. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. stated that he believes Canelo Alvarez is too strong and too big for Terence Crawford. He pointed out that Crawford hasn't spent enough time fighting at that weight and lacks the power to make Canelo respect him. Chavez Jr. views the fight as heavily tilted in Canelo's favor, possibly 80-20 or 70-30. While he acknowledged Crawford's speed, he doesn't think it will be enough. He also praised Canelo as a great boxer who has done his job well and noted that having Canelo's support means a lot, especially with backing from fans in Mexico and beyond. Chavez Jr. added he was surprised to see Jake Paul supporting Canelo.
Pienso que Canelo es muy fuerte, bueno y grande para Crawford. O sea, el tiempo que él tiene peleando en ese peso, yo Canelo 80-20, 70-30, Canelo. Yo no veo de dónde Crawford puede ganar.
Rapidez de Crawford.
Sí, o sea, rapidez de Crawford, pero no tiene la potencia como para que Canelo lo respete.
Coach Bullet shared his thoughts on the upcoming fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence "Bud" Crawford, calling Bud a magician in the ring. More seasoned than fighters like Teofimo Lopez and Roy Jones Jr., he believes that if anyone can beat Canelo at this stage, it's Bud. Bullet noted that Canelo's movement and mobility have declined with age, and he no longer engages the way he used to. He advised Crawford to avoid going toe-to-toe early on and instead turn the fight into a technical boxing match. By doing so, Crawford could test Canelo's conditioning in the later rounds and aim for a points victory, only going for the finish if the opportunity is clear.
And I think you mentioned Bud was going to beat Canelo?
Yeah, like I said, Bud is a magician, like Teofimo and like the Roddy, but just more seasoned than the both of those other two. Bud could do it if anybody could do it. At this age, Canelo's movement and mobility is not the same. He's not engaging like he did before, but I want to advise Bud to stand toe-to-toe with him. I would drag him into a boxing match and see his condition and his movement in the later rounds and try to win on points.
Coach Bullet also emphasized that Canelo should not be underestimated at 168 pounds, calling him the king of the division. He noted that while Canelo's loss at 175 pounds exposed his limits at higher weights, he remains a serious threat at super middleweight. Bullet compared Canelo's past fight with Erislandy Lara, saying he believed Lara outpointed him, similar to how Dimitri Bivol did at 175, but the decision still went to Canelo, possibly due to his strategy and reputation. He concluded by saying Crawford has a real shot, calling it a true 50-50 fight despite the challenges ahead.
Rules of the pound for pound at 168. We cannot take a Canelo at 168 lightly against Bud Crawford. You see what I'm saying? Canelo is the kingpin of 68. He may have lost at 75 trying to jump out the gym for greatness. You know what I'm saying? The Skull performance was, Skull is a mover, like the Erislandy Lara. You know what I'm saying? Lara, to me, beat Canelo. And I feel like Skull really outpointed him, but because of the movement and the game plan ahead, they gave it to Canelo. You understand what I'm saying? So, Bud, I hope he could do it. Canelo that's his division. He was born to fight that weight, and it's just a tough one. But I will give Bud a fair shot. So it's a 50-50.
During the face-off, Canelo Alvarez made it clear that the upcoming fight is between two real fighters, not entertainers or social media stars. He emphasized that both he and Terence Crawford are true professionals who don't need trash talk to generate excitement. Canelo noted that while others may rely on words for attention, real boxing fans already understand the magnitude of this matchup. He believes the focus should remain on skill and discipline, not drama. For him, it's about delivering a great fight between two elite athletes who respect the sport and are ready to prove themselves in the ring.
Because we are true fighters.
Yeah, two fighters.
True fighters.
True, yeah, of course. No, not YouTuber fighters.
Huh?
Not YouTuber fighters. Yeah, of course.
They need to talk and talk shit about the fight because they want to sell something. The people know we are great fighters. They want to put a great fight.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk
I
shit about
am sure in the end, in the mid of September, we will have one of the greatest fights ever happen in boxing. And I am sure.
Coach Bullitt further explained that the only reason he slightly favors Canelo over Terence Crawford is due to Canelo's natural bone structure and size at 168 pounds. He acknowledged Crawford's strength, especially after his dominant win over Errol Spence, but noted that many believe Spence wasn't the same after his car accident. In Bullitt's view, that version of Spence wasn't elite, making this upcoming fight Crawford's first true test against a top-level opponent. He added that while it would have been better if this fight had happened a few years earlier, fans shouldn't underestimate how prepared Canelo will be, especially after his recent performance against William Skull.
What about the bone structure at 168? See, pound for pound is a real thing. That bone structure is the only thing that's making me go 1% more to Canelo than Bud. You know what I'm saying? So, Bud is strong. They told me, oh, before he fought Earl Spence, see, Bud's strong, da-da-da. You know, me, Bomac, and the other trainer was going, saying what we had to say to each other. And, he made a good name for himself fighting Earl Spence. But the world knows that's a C-level Earl Spence that he fought after the accident. So this would be his first fight, really fighting somebody that on that level. I wish he was done a couple of years earlier, but hey, you can't count Canelo out at 68. And you think he's not going to be more than ready for Bud than he was?
Coach Bullitt concluded by saying that Terence Crawford is no longer driven by obsession and now approaches fights with varied styles. He praised Floyd Mayweather's unmatched ring intelligence, calling him a cerebral monster with a boxing IQ above all others, and noted that comparing a Mayweather versus Canelo fight to a Crawford versus Canelo matchup would be unfair. He emphasized that this is a different kind of challenge at a different level. Still, he expressed happiness for both fighters securing a massive payday and said it's great for Crawford's legacy. In his view, Crawford has truly earned the opportunity to face Canelo.
It's a totally different style to fight. Mayweather is a beast. He's a freaking cerebral monster in the ring. His IQ is way farther than all these guys put together. So we can't compare that Canelo and Mayweather fight to a Bud Crawford and Canelo fight. You see what I'm saying? So it's just a different level for me, man. I just feel I love the fact that they're fighting for a big bag. I love that. I love they're both gonna be laughing to the bank. I love that for Bud Crawford's legacy. You know what I'm saying? And he earned it. He deserved it to fight.
Coron Davis shared his thoughts on stepping into the ring with both Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, offering a unique perspective on their upcoming fight. He emphasized that preparation will be key, especially with Crawford moving up to 168 pounds. According to Davis, Crawford has already been sitting at a heavier weight and is putting in serious work in training, which should aid the transition. Still, he noted that Canelo holds a clear advantage in experience at that weight, having competed there for years. Davis described the matchup as a chess game between two highly skilled fighters. While he believes Crawford has the talent and fight IQ to compete at any level, he admitted Canelo's power and comfort at 168 could give him the edge. In the end, Davis leaned slightly toward Canelo as the likely winner, but added that if anyone could pull off such a bold move successfully, it would be Terence Crawford.
Have you been in there with Crawford? Yeah. So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been in there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience. You got Crawford, got great experience as well. It's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because just because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally like sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, if anybody can do it, it'll be Terence Crawford.
Sebastian Fundora said he doesn't believe Terence Crawford will beat Canelo Alvarez, citing Canelo's size and years of experience at 168 pounds as key advantages. He acknowledged Crawford as a great fighter, but emphasized that Canelo is more comfortable at that weight. Fundora added that Canelo didn't look slow against John Ryder, just slightly off in that fight. He also reminded fans that May 31st will be a major night for boxing, with Crawford versus Canelo and Caleb Plant versus Jermall Charlo on the same card.
Canelo and
I don't think so.
Why is that? Why?
This guy's more comfortable at 168. He's been fighting 168 for 4 or 5 years now. Crawford's a great fighter, but we'll see. Boxing, anything can happen.
Did it look like Canelo was slowing down against Skull?
No, I think it's just something he's uncomfortable with.
Mickey Bay offered a unique take and showed some optimism for Crawford's chances. He said Crawford doesn't need to gain much weight for the fight and should aim to stay between 165 and 168 pounds without going over. In Bay's opinion, maintaining speed and movement will be crucial for Crawford's success.
And I wouldn't come heavy. In my opinion, I would come in at this is my opinion, I would come in at 65 and come in at the same weight for the fight.
He added that if Crawford enters the fight in the 160s while maintaining his sharpness and strong conditioning, he might be able to outpoint Canelo. Bay referenced how Floyd Mayweather approached fighting at 154 pounds by staying close to his natural weight rather than bulking up, and suggested Crawford should adopt a similar strategy.
Come in at whatever, like Floyd, like 154. Yeah, Floyd can't get up to 180, but he could Floyd probably was in the walk around, he can get up to 60, 65, probably when he's not doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But when he trained, it's going to drop in the 50s. So basically, when Floyd is shape, he always in his 50s, 160 and down. So when he fought Canelo, he still ain't gained weight because he might have weighed 150 and weighed 150 on fight, not at 150.
Richardson Hitchens shared that Crawford might have a path to victory. He acknowledged that Crawford isn't the same type of boxer as those who have previously defeated Canelo, like Floyd Mayweather or Dimitri Bivol, but believes Crawford has the intelligence and talent to create his own game plan. Known for his cleverness in the ring, Crawford doesn't need to mimic others, he just needs to rely on his own style. However, Hitchens expressed doubt about a knockout, noting that Canelo has never been stopped and questioned whether even someone as skilled as Crawford could be the first to do it.
This is one of the most craftiest dudes that Canelo gonna be in the ring with. Hand speed, IQ, long arms, speed, power. Switch hitter. I just think that it's going to...
Jermall Charlo explained that Crawford doesn't need to match Canelo in size. Instead, he should protect what makes him special: his quickness, movement, and smart fighting. He warned that changing too much just to adjust to a new weight could lead to failure. Charlo believes Crawford must stick to the style that suits him best if he wants a real chance to win.
All right, my brother Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he gets to stay big. But my brother even told me that was his mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I got to get massive, I got to get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower, it made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself. He didn't feel like the Jermall Charlo that y'all seen him fight Tony Harrison. Crawford, I feel like that's the same thing as that. You want to get big to try to absorb Canelo punches and all this, but that's not, technically, that's not the Crawford that we're going to see. And then Crawford going up there to fight Canelo at 68, when he's not a 68-pounder, where's the motivation? Y'all got to think about it like that.
Big for Crawford.
The money is good, but I don't expect Terence Crawford to be the Terence Crawford that was knocking out Gamboa, I don't expect that type of Terence Crawford.
So does it look Canelo?
I'm not picking either one of them.
Rolando Romero saw the matchup as one-sided, comparing it to when Amir Khan attempted to face Canelo and failed. In Romero's view, the size difference is simply too significant to overlook. He felt that despite Crawford's skills, they wouldn't be enough to withstand the strength and power Canelo brings. Romero predicted the fight would end quickly and decisively in Canelo's favor.
All the people who think Crawford would even have a single chance against Canelo, they're fucking stupid.
Broly, you have a way with words like nobody else.
No, bro. I hate it when people say that. They're fucking stupid.
Eddie Hearn shared a more skeptical view, focusing on Crawford's list of career achievements. While he acknowledged Crawford's high-level talent, he questioned whether Crawford had faced enough top-tier opponents to be considered among the all-time greats. Hearn highlighted Crawford's mention of Ricky Burns as a major win, using it as an example to argue that, despite looking impressive, the overall level of competition Crawford has faced might not be strong enough to cement a legendary legacy.
It's what, 36, 35, 30,
37, turning 38.
You know? Like, and by the way, he's an outstanding fighter, but the problem is with Bud, and I said this to him on the flight, I said, you never got the chance to build an amazing resume because there was no one for you to fight. Like, I was like winding him up. I said, tell me your best win. And he's like, Ricky Burns. That's what he said. Ricky Burns is my fighter, 3-division world champion. But I said, he was a great fighter, but he's not going to go down in history, Ricky Burns, as like an all-time great. You're telling me that was your best win? Well, Errol Spence, but even he acknowledges that Errol Spence, you know, was probably a little bit... And Bud could beat all the greats, but he never really got the chance, and that's why this fight's really important for him and to him. And after watching Canelo against Skull, and I know it was Skull, and I think he's the fresher guy in there. And I very rarely back against Canelo Alvarez, but it would not surprise me at all if Crawford won that.
Jose Benavidez Sr. offered a more negative opinion, predicting the fight will be dull. He expects Crawford to avoid direct exchanges and stay defensive, much like William Skull and Jermall Charlo did in their bouts with Canelo. Benavidez Sr. believes Crawford won't take the necessary risks to truly challenge Canelo and feels the match might fall short of the excitement fans are hoping for.
Little guy, you know, he's coming up 2 divisions to fight Canelo Alvarez, and you think he's going to go toe-to-toe with Canelo? Come on, man. You know, Terence Crawford is a great fighter, really good fighter, but that's too much weight for him. So he's going to try to survive and move around and try to win the round. That's what's going to happen. I think Canelo at the stage right now, he's legs are not the same, you know, the body's not responding the same, so I think he's going to have problems trying to catch Terence Crawford, to be honest with you, and I think it's going to be the same fight, you know. I think it's going to be a boring fight. It's going to, I'm hoping that, you know, it's a little bit exciting because I heard that Canelo was the worst fight ever on pay-per-view to throw the less punches in history, so we're hoping to see a great fight, a good fight, but that matchup is not a matchup to be.
That's it for today's video. What are your thoughts on the fight? We'd love to hear from you, so drop your opinions in the comments section. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe.